I have a lot of slides, but don't worry, I'm not going to talk about them. I'll just briefly introduce what we are doing. So we were interested in video-based learning. We have the names of the team here. And that's not surprising because videos are being used everywhere in MOOCs and flipped classrooms and formal learning and so on. But there is one big problem, and that's that very often watching videos is a completely passive activity. And that's what we didn't like. Okay? So if you want to integrate video into teaching, it could be done in different ways. So there are some papers which show how you can have a classroom discussion after seeing a video, or you can add quizzes or interactive problems into the videos. But this kind of activities actually require quite a lot of effort from the teacher. And what we wanted was to minimize the effort from the teacher. Okay? So we developed this platform that I'm going to show you. We call it AVW-Space, AVW for active video watching. And we support engagement during video watching in a number of ways. One of them is interactive note-taking, and students are already familiar with this from social networking sites. But we also use other things, and I'll point out a few of them when I show you the demo. So that's the platform. It has been developed in my department, computer science department. And the platform is basically domain independent, so it can be used for anything. Our research goal was to try to find some way to teach soft skills or transferable skills. So I'm going to show you an example for that, but the platform can be used for other things as well. So I'm now going to jump out of this and just show you the platform. So in the platform, we have different types of accounts. I have an administrator account, which is the highest level privileges. So I'm going to see lots of stuff, and I'll show you what it looks like for the student or for the teacher as well. So as I mentioned, we have used the platform in a number of studies, and you can see them here, to teach transferable skills. And we started with presentation skills. The reason for that is I come from a computer science department, and our students are really not very good at presentation skills. So that's why we started with that. We have used it in a number of different classes. I'll show you what it looks like, the very last study we have done in Engineering 101. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what the teacher needs to do. Okay? So as a teacher, if you want to use this platform for teaching, you have to select videos from YouTube. So we're using publicly available videos. And the teacher is not asked to do anything with them, just to specify which ones they want to use. For this particular instance of the space for teaching presentation skills, we have 4 tutorials. You can see them here. They're all very short videos. And then we have 4 example presentations. So these are real presentations, such as PhD in 3 minutes and that kind of stuff. Okay? We tell students to watch the tutorials first and to write notes, comments as they go. This is, by the way, all completely voluntary. If they want to use it, they can. In Engineering 101, they have to give a presentation in the very last week. So we tell them this is a way to learn something about how to give presentations. So we tell them to watch tutorials first in any order, and after that to watch the example videos and to critique them. Okay? So let me just show you. At the beginning, they will only see these watch links. The other links are not shown, so I'll explain that in a moment. So for example, if someone wants to watch this video, the video will start, and whenever they want, they can stop the video and they can write a comment. So for example, if I want to write a comment now, I can click this button and I get this box, and I can write any text I want. So I'm using my own account, and I haven't actually written any comments, but in the case of a real student, the comments would be shown in this box on the right. So you can write any text you want. Now, in order to save the comment, we ask them to select one of these aspects. We call them aspects. So this is basically like a micro-scaffolding for making them engaged. And we have spent quite a lot of time deciding on these aspects. When it comes to teaching transferable skills, it's very important for the student to refer, to reflect on their own experience. And that's why we have chosen these aspects. For example, I'm rather good at this, I did this in the past, or I didn't realize I wasn't doing this, so this one will tell us that they have learned something new from the video. And we have highlighted this point because that's the usual kind of thing in this type of sites. So then I can save it. I haven't selected one, so for example, I can select this one. And as you add comments, they are going to appear in this box in the chronological
To
order.
give a successful presentation,
so
they say you need to have...
Stop this. So the other type of support we added, if you look at these two bars here, the first one shows comments written by previous students. And they're color-coded, so depending on the aspect they selected, we show them what happened. So this tells them lots of stuff, like, for example, there are a lot of comments at the beginning, so there's something interesting at the beginning. There are, again, a lot of comments at the end. And they can also see the histograms to see how many comments there are. And if they position a mouse on one of these dots, they will actually be able to see the comment that someone else has written. The other thing we have done in this particular version of the space is we have added AI support. So we are modeling what the student is doing, and we are modeling their behavior. And for example, if they have watched the video, 1/3 of the video, and they haven't written any comments, they're going to get a hint which says, how about commenting? What can you tell us, right? So they can completely ignore it if they want. But later on, if they still haven't written any comments, we are going to give them a different hint which says, someone else in your class wrote this comment at this point in the video. What do you think about it? So we are using this kind of hints that's basically based on the nudge theory that comes from economics, kind of nudging them towards good behavior. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have done quite a few studies. In all of these studies, we have seen that students who write comments and also students who participate in the second phase, which you haven't seen so far, they learn much more than the passive students who just watch videos and don't do anything. So that's why we are giving them these nudges. So let me show you the second phase. So in Engineering 101, for example, we give them about 2 weeks to watch the videos and write comments. And then after that, we review the comments just to check that, because there would be lots of duplicates. In this class, we get about 4,000 comments. So that's quite a lot. So we select some of them, and then they're shown to the class. They're all anonymous, so they don't know who has written comments. And they have the list sorted in the chronological order based on the time in the video. They can click on this time and the video will play from that particular time. And they can read the comment. They can also rate it. And these rating categories, again, we have spent a lot of time selecting those because we wanted them to reflect, again, on their experience and to reflect on the comment they have written. So there are things like, I hadn't thought of this, I didn't notice this. So that's basically telling us that they are learning from each other. So there are elements of social learning. And also, I don't agree, so specifying their own opinion, or I like this point. Okay? So students who have written comments and also who have participated in this phase where they rate each other comments, they have learned much more than the others. We have also done lots of statistical analysis. I don't have time for that, but if anyone is interested, I can show you. Generally, over the last 3 instances of Engineering 101, we have seen a statistically significant increase in the marks for the presentation skills. On the other hand, their presentations are only 1 minute long, so that's really not a lot of time. The ideal case would be that we give them a lot of time to present, we give them one-on-one feedback, but of course, that's not possible with 1,000 students. So that's basically where we are at the moment. We recently got a teaching development grant to integrate AVW-Space with Learn, so that it's going to be easier. At the moment, students have to log into this tool separately, and that, of course, causes a lot of confusion. So that's going to be eliminated, and it's going to be easier for teachers as well if they want to use this to go directly from Learn and specify what they want in the tool. So that was the quickest possible demo. If you have any questions, please, I'm here. I can try to answer. Yep.
I was going to ask you, sometimes when you're actually looking at a video, sometimes when you're watching a movie, for instance, you often wait until the end to reflect on what you've seen.
Yeah.
Is that something, what's the
Yes.
instructions to students? Do you say to them, comment all the way through,
Yeah.
or do you, you'll find interesting points on the way, which is what
Yeah.
we're encouraging to do.
Yeah, that's a very good question. We have done a lot of analysis on the data we collected from the system. So just to show you very briefly. This is a clustering of students who write comments. So basically, in any class, I think we are going to see similar kind of behavior. So there are some students who don't do anything. So we call them inactive. There are some passive students, so they watch the videos, but they don't write any comments. And then we have the active ones. So these are the students who write comments. Even within this group, there are different kinds of behaviors. So some people would watch the video several times, and then they write like a summary of the whole video at the beginning of the video or at the end of the video. And then we also have students who write comments throughout, but at the moment what we are doing is we are adding more AI support to the environment to basically be able to determine the quality of the comment as they are writing them. So what we have seen is there are people who would write very short comments with no content, such as interesting, I like this, that kind of stuff. Then there are people who write very short comments, and they would repeat something that's in the video, verbatim. Then we have, and these two types of comments we are not interested in. We would like them to write better comments. And for better comments, when I say better, we have identified 3 groups. One of them is, for example, someone would write, this is very important because, and then they write a justification of that. Another type of comment is reflecting on their experience. So they see something in the video and they write about how they have done a presentation in the past and they haven't done that or something like that. They're like critiquing themselves. And then the best type of comment that we have seen is writing about how they're going to plan their future presentation based on the video that they have. So that's what we are working at the moment, adding this kind of automatic classification of comments, and that will allow us to give them better feedback while they are writing comments. So yes, there is a lot of difference. So the 3 groups that I'm showing here, at the beginning of each study, we gave them a questionnaire, which looks at learning strategies, and you can see some of the variables on the right. So what learning strategies, for example, self-regulation, organization, elaboration, that kind of stuff. We also asked them about experience they have in presentation skills. We asked them how much they use YouTube for learning, for example, and that kind of stuff. So these 3 clusters were based on the responses for the questionnaire. And our ideal cluster is this one here. So what differentiates that cluster from the others is that they have a lot of experience, okay? And they also have relatively good self-regulation skills. So these people wrote high-level comments as opposed to this group here. They wrote a few comments, but not very many. Now, this particular group, these were postgraduate students, and obviously there are differences between students. The younger ones are more used to social networking sites and they write more, while older people are a little bit more quiet. So that needs to be taken into account as well. And then we had this group that we called parochial, who only notice kind of surface level elements in videos and have not written deep comments. So that's what we are working on now, kind of developing AI support to provide different feedback to different types of learners.
When you completed the registration, will the spectrum be available to any teachers?
Yep. So I forgot to mention, so this was developed, the work on this was supported by Aotearoa, and of course we want lots of people to use it. There have been some people in New Zealand, but we also had people in Sweden and in Crete who used the system so far, and of course in England and Australia because the team is international.
Well, if there are no more questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Tanja.
No problem.